Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into one of our final No Huddle Rodeo NFR previews. After this, we will be complete with all things broad sense event previews. So we're very excited to be able to bring you all of those. So if you missed any of those, bareback riding, steer wrestling, bull riding, tie down, you know all the events. I don't need to list them all off for you. We have videos just like this one for every single event. And again, we're talking heelers today. That includes separate breakdowns for the headers and the heelers, because as we're going to get into, the races do look a little bit different for both of them. That being said, all of these videos have been brought to you by Justin Boots and Runyon's Fine Furniture. We are very thankful for them. And before we do anything, we of course are going to start where we have always started, and that is by running through and meeting your top 15. So here they are for your heelers. Junior Nogueira, number 1. Coulter Todd roping with Derek Begay once again. He is number 2. Jade Corkill, the 3-time world champion out of retirement. He is number 3. Levi Lord has teamed up with Dustin Egusquiza once again. He's number 4. Travis Graves roping with Tanner Tomlinson. He is number 5 as he heads into his 16th National Finals Rodeo. Colby Payne will be reuniting with Clay Smith. He ranks number 6. Jake Long, 15 National Finals Rodeos. He is number 7. Wesley Thorp, the 2-time reigning world champion, is number 8. Lane Mitchell is number 9. The Canadian standout, roping with his brother Dylan Graham, is number 10. 14-time NFR qualifier Brady Minor is number 11. Trey Yates comes in at number 12. Douglas Rich at number 13 returns for the second straight year. Number 14 back once again as well, Caden Profili. He won a round in his NFR debut a year ago. And then Jonathan Torres roping with Lightning Aguilera is our 15th and final National Finals qualifier on the heel side. And so for the heelers, what I want to do for this is really break down 5 things to watch. If you want more in-depth on the pairs, you can watch the header preview because we talked a lot about that there. But again, here are 5 other things for the heelers, and by virtue of it being for the heelers, the entire team roping that I want to keep an eye on. The number 1 thing is that for the heelers, it is a different state of play than the headers. On the head side, Caleb Driggers leads only by about $15,000. On the heel side for Junior Nogueira, after winning that Governor's Cup with Caleb Driggers, he leads by about $35,000, which means in order for them to both win the world title, Junior Nogueira would need to win the heel side by at least $20,000. Otherwise, we are looking at potentially split world champions because, again, there's a $20,000 difference between the head lead and the heel lead. Furthermore, if you look at some of the guys on the heel side, where they stack up compared to their partner, in the top 5, there are 2 people who do not match up with their partner. Travis Graves is number 5. His partner Tanner Tomlinson is number 3. Jade Corkill is number 3. His partner Clint Summers is number 4. So that is something to keep an eye on there. Is again, Summers and Corkill, they have the same amount of money. They just rank differently there. Tomlinson and Graves is a different story. Tomlinson has about $14,000 more than his partner, Travis Graves. And so watch as things move on. And as we progress further and further, 1, we might have projected split champions, but 2, by the time we get to rounds 8, 9, and 10, for some of these top 5 pairs, it may take different things for guys to win the world title. And we saw last year all the math that guys had to do in round 10 on the fly to figure out what they needed to do on their run. We could see even more of that this year, especially if crazy things happen on Saturday night in round 10 like we saw last year, like Coleman Proctor and Clay Smith both missing and throwing things completely into chaos. But in that chaos, this brings us to our next point. In that chaos, the team that emerged was Tyler Wade and Wesley Thorp for the second straight year. And this is a team who has thrived in the chaos. And the reason they have thrived in the chaos, I feel like, is because although they have both admitted that it is hard to get comfortable every single year at the National Finals Rodeo, and you never know how comfortable you are going to be, how your preparation, how good was your preparation coming in, you never know until round one. But both of these guys, in interviews after they won the world title last year for the second year in a row, and since they have won that world title, there is a serenity about Tyler Wade and Wesley Thorp when it comes to roping in the Thomas and Mack, where they really do believe that if they have their best stuff and they make their best runs, they could win the world championship. And they believe, and they have proven, that no times will not affect them at the National Finals Rodeo. Because think about what happened last year. They had just 6 qualified times. They did not place in the average, but all of their runs where they did get a time were 4.6 seconds or faster. And 5 of them were 3.8 or faster. And 2 of them were 3.7 in rounds 1 and 2, which sent a clear message that they could very well win this world championship again, which is exactly what they did. And something else, because last year after rounds 1 and 2, they immediately shot to the top of the leaderboard. They immediately became the team to beat. And Tyler Wade, more so than his healer Wesley Thorp, has said he likes having a long ways to go. He likes having to really fight for that top spot as opposed to protecting the lead. He likes to be the hunter, not the hunted. Well, they come in about $50,000 back at number 8 in the world. And if they can win those first 2 rounds again, they will do the exact same thing they did last year. And that is send a clear message to everybody else that they are once again here to dominate in the Thomas and Mack. And when they do get a time, they have been dominant in the Thomas and Mack over the last 2 seasons. Because they teamed up for the first time in 2023, won the world title, backed it up in 2024. Both came in the top 2. They won those first 2 rounds, got a little touch and go there, and then they sealed it with a clutch run in round 10. A team that has entered the NFR number 1 before. That brings us to my next thing to watch. Dustin Egusquiza and Levi Lord. They've gone through partner changes. They roped with each other for a long time. They never got over the hump and won that world title, despite entering number 1 in 2023, despite entering 3rd in 2024. They both enter in the top 5 again this season. And remember, despite the fact that they did not rope together all summer, this is still a pair who, as I just mentioned, number 1 in 2023, number 3 in 2024. And if you go back over the last 3 seasons, even if you take out the half season that they just had where they didn't rope together, they still have more runs of 4 flat or faster than any team in the PRCA over the last 3 years. More than Caleb Driggers and Junior Nogueira, more than Tyler Wade and Wesley Thorp. And they have done it on similar setups to the Thomas and Mack. They have won San Antonio together twice. They have won the NFR Open together. They have won big rodeos, indoor, outdoor, fast starts, long scores. They've won Guyman together. So there's a bunch of different things that back up the fact that these two could be a team to be trifled with at the National Finals Rodeo. But the one reason to me that they are a big storyline is they roped together at 2 NFRs in their careers, like I mentioned, 23, 24. Both of them, they were in the top 3. Each of those years, they only caught 4 head. They placed 15th in the average in 2023, 14th in 2024. If they can even get an average check, we might have a completely different ball game in the team roping, and it would just be a huge monkey off both of their backs to be able to go in and accomplish that together. Because during the regular season, they have had the goods. They have been just as good as the pairs I've mentioned, as the gold standard pairs, Driggers and Nogueira, Wade and Thorp. Now it is time for Levi Lord and Dustin Egusquiza, after a little time of not roping together, to come back together and see if they can right their NFR wrongs. Next, can Clint Summers and Jade Corkill keep up what they did in this summer run? Because they instantly clicked and they were phenomenal for the entire summer run. And now we're going to see them at the National Finals Rodeo, where Summers has been roping with Jake Long. He won 4 go-rounds in 2023, was second in the average in 2024, reserve world champion both of those years. Now, for the first time since 2022, Jade Corkill is back in the National Finals Rodeo field. And this is a team who already won Puyallup together, so they already defeated every team. They have beat the best of the best. Jade Corkill was number 2 in the PRCA playoff series standings. He went from number 38 to number 3 during the summer run, as they were the winningest pair. And each of his last 3 Las Vegas NFRs, so 2019, 2021, and 2022, Jade Corkill has placed in 5 rounds at all 3 of them. If they do that this year, they are very much in the mix. And so that kind of lays out already through what we talked about 4 healers, but 4 real pairs to watch and what they need to do. If you're Driggers and Nogueira, you just need to hold serve. You need to do what you have done the last couple NFRs, and that is get an average check, win 2 or 3 rounds. They can definitely do that. If they do that, again, this is all, I don't have the math in front of me for every possible scenario. If they do that, they would likely win the world title. For Wade and Thorp, who won the first 2 rounds last year, placed in 6, were 3-8 or faster on 5 of them. I think if they catch 2 more steers, if they catch 8 this year, their run in the Thomas and Mack is fast enough to elevate them potentially to a world championship. So they just need to go from catching 6 to catching 8. And if that means a 3-8 becomes a 4-0 sometimes, or a 3-9 becomes a 4-2, I don't think it really matters. If they get 2 more bites at the apple, coming from number 8 instead of number 2, like they had to last year, then we might be talking about them as a 3rd straight world championship. And I think their confidence is at an all-time high. For Dustin, Egusquiza and Levi Lord, it is really just about catching. How many will they catch? And will they start out strong? Will they, because if they miss their first couple, it's human nature. They'll say, oh no, here we go again. And there has to be a reason that they did split up, or they decided to split up, or one of them decided to split up. I don't know the whole story, but I imagine it's the NFR struggles. And so there would be something very human mentally about what it would do if Egusquiza and Lord get off to a slow start. On the flip side, if they get off to a fast start, they can roll up some round wins really, really quick here. And then the same thing for Summers and Corkill. It is not necessarily about how they start or how they finish. It is just the NFR, the National Finals Rodeo, is a different type of setup. And these two have roped together at the Governor's Cup, but they didn't have a full Texas swing where you see Fort Worth, San Angelo, San Antonio. If you want to go back even further to Odessa, to Denver, those are similar setups to the National Finals Rodeo, so they do not have as many runs on that setup. Individually, they both have all kinds of accolades. 3 world titles for Corkill and an average title. An average title for Summers and back-to-back reserve world championships. But they have not roped together in a lot of arenas that look like this. And so that'll be what I am monitoring for those guys. And the last thing that encompasses all teams is just how many pairs are going to catch all 10. Because last year, there were none. And there were only 3 with 9 and 4 with 8. And what that meant was, not necessarily did it end up mattering. Well, it mattered for Procter & Medlin in the world title race, but for a lot of these teams, it did not matter for the world title race, but it mattered on giving opportunities to teams who caught 7 or 8 to steal an average check and help them there. And so this could be something that comes down to, if one of these pairs, which we did not see last year, if one of these world title favorite pairs goes out and takes control of the average, which is, again, not something we have seen in recent history. We have not seen teams in the world title race also be in the average race for the last 3 NFRs. But if we see that, that could be a big difference for any of the pairs that I just named there. And so that's something I've really got my eye on. If it can be Wesley Thorp, Nogueira, Lord and Egusquiza, if Begay and Todd, who I haven't talked much about, who won the 2023 NFR average, if they can catch all 10, which they were the last pair to do it because no one did last year, they did in 2023. If they can get all 10, that might be their path forward to compete for a world title. The last thing, that's the top part of the NFR average. At the bottom of the NFR average, every year since 2021, they have paid at least 1 hole in the average to a team who caught 7. Which if you're Wesley Thorp, that's 1 more steer and they get a check. So keep that in mind. If you're Egusquiza and Lord, you don't necessarily need to catch 8 or 9 to win the average. You could be the fastest on 7. Get yourself an extra $9,000, and that could also make the difference down the stretch, because we saw last year, like I mentioned at the top, Coleman Proctor and Clay Smith both missing round 10, throws everything into whack. And so we had a topsy-turvy up and down team roping last year, and it could be even more up and down this year, just based on that $20,000 difference between the head and the heel side. On the heel side, it does favor Junior Nogueira more than his partner, Caleb Driggers. But as we just went through, a lot of factors and a lot of things go into this team roping race this year. So that was your heel horse. Remember, we have one of these exact videos, a No Huddle Rodeo episode on the headers as well, if you want to watch that for just the team roping, but for every single event. And so as we have some downtime heading into the National Finals Rodeo, be sure to click around there, check all of those out, subscribe to this channel, and get coverage throughout the NFR. And again, continuing to lead up to the NFR, because we are bringing it to you every single day until December 4th. And now we have all of these videos completed. All of our previews are in place, so they are all there for you to be consumed in 1 sitting, 5 sittings, I don't care. But we do, as I will say one more time, have previews of every single event that I would encourage you to check out. They are brought to you by Runyon's Fine Furniture. They are brought to you by Justin Boots. And we thank you for following along with us as we head into the NFR. Next up is the National Finals Rodeo in Las Vegas. Follow us on social, subscribe here, follow along. We can't wait to bring it to you all 10 nights. Thank you for watching your Team Roping Healer preview, and we'll see you in Vegas.